Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to talk about routes of drug administration. Routes of drug administration means the path which the drug takes to reach its site of action. Now, this site of action can be either superficial, which includes the skin, mucosa, bronchus, or it can be deeper tissues, where also it can be superficial, access is superficial, no need to reach via blood, or it can even reach to its site of action via blood. So this route of drug administration, that means how we give the drug to the patient, depends on site of action of the drug, which can be any of these as I told you. It also depends on convenience and safety. For example, if we say a person to take the drug orally, it might be very convenient for the person to take the drug. Then patient factors also, it depends. For example, whether the patient is conscious or unconscious. An unconscious person cannot pop the pill orally, right? So whether the person is cooperative, for example, child may not be cooperative for oral drug as well, and the dosage form also will depend that okay, orally the person may take syrup but not tablet. Then age of the person also matters. Then nature of the drug, whether the drug is irritable or how stable the drug is. If the drug is too much irritable, for example, it cannot be given sublingually. Sublingually, the drug has to be kept below the tongue, and if the drug is irritable, it may damage the mucosa. Then what is the desired speed of action? For example, in case of emergency where very fast action is required, then it is always better to give the drug by parenteral route rather than by enteral route. Enteral route is that it means via GIT. So drug will be absorbed. It will take some time for the drug to enter into the circulation, and the variable amount of drug also will reach into the circulation. So in that case, it is advisable to give the drug by parenteral route where the drug directly enters into the circulation. So broadly, we classify these routes of drug administration as local and systemic. Systemic is where the drug enters into the bloodstream, and via the circulation it is distributed throughout the body. Locally is where the drug is applied locally to a particular site and there is no need of absorption of the drug into the blood. And because the drug is not going into the circulation, there is minimal systemic side effects as well because the drug is only available at the site where it is acting. So, in this also we have different routes of drug administration. In locally we have topical, then deeper tissues, then arterial. Then in systemic we have enteral and parenteral. Enteral is the one which is given via gastrointestinal tract. In this again we have oral, where the drug is swallowed. Then we have sublingual or buccal. Sublingual is where the drug is kept below the tongue, and buccal is the drug is kept between the gum and the cheek. And then we have the rectal route. Then we have parenteral route. In parenteral, we again have injectable and non-injectable. Injectable can be again of various types. It can be intravenous, drug given in the vein, intramuscular, injected into the muscle, and from there it goes into the circulation. Subcutaneous, where the drug is below some superficial layers of the skin, and then intradermal. Then non-injectable, we have nasal and transdermal routes. So let us talk about these one by one. So first is local, in which we have the topical application. That means the drug is applied superficially on the skin or mucosa. So what are the drug dosage forms which can be applied superficially? This may include ointment, cream, paste, dusting powders are there, even gel, lotion. Drops can be there. For example, the drops for nose, eyes, ear canal, anal canal. Then even the suppositories which can be inserted into the rectum. So this is not the rectal route where the drug is absorbed into the circulation. Here we are talking about local, topical. So that means the drug will remain in the rectal region only and not be absorbed into the circulation. Pessaries are like suppositories, but they are inserted into the vagina. And then we have urethral drugs also, like jellies, anesthetic jellies can be applied in the urethra as well. So these are topical. They are not being absorbed into the circulation. Some other examples is orally for GI mucosa. For example, lozenges. Lozenges are there in the mouth only and they act in the throat. Then we have inhalational for bronchi. So again, they are not being absorbed into the circulation. They are remaining superficially in the bronchi. What are the advantages of this type of application? Well, it is very convenient and it is reassuring to the patient, because the patient will know that okay, something superficial only is there, no problem deep inside his body. Okay. Then we have deeper tissues. Here deeper tissues we are talking, but remember again that it is not being absorbed into the circulation. In these deeper tissues, the drug can be given using syringe and needle, and it can be injected into the joints, that is intra-articular injection. Into the subarachnoid space it can be injected, so it will go into the CSF, again not into the circulation. Infiltration around the nerve, for example infiltration of local anesthetics. Okay, then again retrobulbar injection, that means behind the eye the drug is given. Again one example is anesthetics can be given to block the optic nerve. Okay, so these are deeper tissues. The drug is given locally, it is not being absorbed into the circulation. If it is being absorbed into the circulation, then all the drug will go from the local tissue and it will not be able to act where it is intended to act. Then we have arterial. In this, the drug is within the arteries. See, when we told about systemic injections, basically in this injection is into the veins. And from veins, a lot of veins will combine together, they will return the blood to the heart, and from their arterial blood supply, the drug is going to go to many tissues. But here, when we talk about arteries, the drug is injected into a particular artery and it will go to the tissue which is supplied by that particular artery. So fundamentally the drug is in local region only. Okay. Example of for arterial application includes injection of contrast media in angiography, and for cancer treatment, anti-cancer drugs are injected into some arteries so that they go to the tissues of the cancerous region. Okay. So those were the local application of the drug. Moving on to systemic. In systemic, we saw there is enteral and parenteral. We will talk about enteral. So in enteral, we have oral, sublingual and rectal. This oral form is the most common form of drug administration. And what are the dosage forms which can be given orally? It can be both solid and liquid. Solid can be in the form of tablets, it can be in the form of capsule or even powder like ORS powder can be there. Liquid can be in the form of syrup, it can be in the form of suspension, emulsion. Okay, all this can be given orally where the drug is swallowed by the patient. What are the advantages of this form? Well, it is very safe. The drug need not be sterile, because when the drug is taken, actually our stomach has one action of preventing the infection. Hydrochloric acid is there, it destroys the bacteria. So the drug need not be sterile in case of oral route, and that is why it is cheap also. Then it is easy to administer, it is non-invasive, painless. On the other hand, there are certain disadvantages as well. One is that because the drug is taken orally, it is being absorbed, and this absorption is variable. It is variable absorption. Okay, so depends on various factors. For example, whether the drug is taken after food and how much time after food the time has passed. It can vary from person to person as well. Then after it is being absorbed, it is also entering into the liver, where some of the drug will be metabolized, which is known as first pass metabolism, which we have already seen in our video on pharmacokinetics. So in oral route of drug administration, some of the drug is also metabolized. So only some amount of drug is reaching to the circulation. Plus, because of this time for taking absorption, first pass metabolism, it will take some time for the drug to reach to the circulation. So there is slower action of the oral route of administration. It cannot be used for emergencies. Then it cannot be used in uncooperative and unconscious people also. Okay. Then they cannot be used in case the person is having repetitive vomiting. Repeated vomiting if the person is having, or nausea, then also this route is not preferable. And some drugs may be destroyed in GIT. For example, insulin. Insulin is a peptide, and our gastrointestinal tract has a lot of proteolytic enzymes which destroy these peptides. Okay. Second route of drug administration is rectal. Sublingual we will talk in some time. In rectal route of drug administration, yes, the drug is absorbed into the circulation, but only some of it passes through the liver, not all. So still some first pass metabolism is there. So when is this route preferred? Well, this route, as you might have guessed, it is inconvenient and embarrassing. People will not agree for this route. However, it can be used for unconscious people, okay, unconscious. Then in case recurrent vomiting is present, and for certain irritant drugs as well, this route can be used for irritant drugs. But disadvantages include that obviously it is embarrassing and inconvenient. Then there is, like oral route, there is slow absorption, variable absorption, irregular, unpredictable absorption of the drug is there. Some amount of it also undergoes first pass metabolism, and certain irritant drugs can also lead to rectal inflammation. Okay, so even though it can be used for drugs, for irritant drugs, but still certain drugs can cause rectal inflammation. Then the next is the sublingual route. Now, why I am dealing with it last? Because even though we are classifying it enteral route, that means it is given via GIT. Mouth is part of GIT, so that is why it is being classified as enteral route. But in sublingual form, the drug is directly being absorbed into the blood from the mouth. Okay, so when we keep it below the tongue or between the gum and cheek, the drug from mouth directly enters into the circulation. So, this sublingual route has an advantage of faster absorption, and it actually bypasses first pass metabolism. No first pass metabolism for that. So, it is acting more like a parenteral route. However, since we are keeping it in mouth, it is classified under enteral route. What are the disadvantages of this route? Well, it can only be used for lipid soluble and non-irritant drugs. Non-irritant, because irritant drugs may damage the mucosa. Okay, so these are certain disadvantages. Some example of sublingual route is glycerol trinitrate, which is used for angina, because in angina we want very fast action of the drug. So in this case, glycerol trinitrate is kept below the tongue for faster absorption and action. So those were the enteral routes of drug administration. In the next video, we will talk about parenteral route of drug administration. Like all my previous videos on pharmacology, the video notes of this lecture will be available for free download from the app. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, do press the like button, do share the video with others, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel Physiology Open. Thank you.